joining us now, man who promoted Joyce, two-weight world champion, David Haye. Hi, David.
How you doing, guys?
Good, thank you. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of eyes on this. It was such a strange fight, the first fight. I mean, it feels like a long time ago, but remind people that Joe lost. It was an odd performance by him. What did you make of that, and what do you think he'll do differently this time?
I think people got a little too excited with the way in which he beat Joseph Parker. You know, he had this Terminator mindset, and no matter what Joseph Parker threw it in his direction, he ate it up. He was literally walking through punches and was able to get victory by taking his opponent's best shots and just keep throwing punches. And I think he wanted to apply those tactics to someone who was a lot bigger than him, was a southpaw, and is pretty much undefeated if you don't count the Hergvik loss that he had. That was a controversial decision. So against an older, sort of faded Joseph Parker, who'd been there, done it, was in the twilight of his career, yes, you may be able to just walk through punches to win those fights. But against the elite level, young, current heavyweights with firepower, you're going to have to move your head. You're going to have some form of strategy. As he didn't, his strategy was just to keep walking through the punches. And yes, his chin held up, but his eyeballs didn't. You know, his eyes swelled up real bad. And Zhang's going to be aiming for those eyes this time around, for sure. It
was a really laboured performance, wasn't it? He started slowly and never built up any pace at all.
Yeah, he wasn't allowed to. You know, normally what happens is he comes out there, his opponents run away from him, and he's able to kind of pick up momentum, chase them around the ring. Zhang stood there in the centre of the ring and was just throwing that left hand from the southpaw position right down the pipe. And every time it was hitting him flush on the button, and you know, his legs went a few times. I've never seen him in such physical straits in a fight. But he had to weather the storm, and he did. No credit to him. In round 5, Zhang had to take it off because he got tired of punching Joe in the head. In round 6, he continued throwing the punches and was able to get the stoppage. But this time round, you know, I had a good conversation with Joyce, I think it was at the Soho House Festival, and said to him, we got to move that head, baby. We got to get that head moving side to side. You're a big, athletic man. You can stand and do a full somersault. He can stand up and do a backflip. He does capoeira. He's very dynamic. If you was to watch that performance, he looked big, stiff, and slow. Yeah. But he's not. He's got good reflexes. He just chose, for some absurd reason, not to use his natural God-given gifts. And this time round, I think everyone who's got half a brain has just said to Joe, don't get hit in the face so much, and you will find a way to victory. So hopefully he's taken on board everything his team and his family and friends have to say, and we're going to see a new, fresh version of him. A lot of talk was about him being too light for that fight, and I don't believe it was anything to do with his weight. I believe it was a tactical issue. No matter what your weight is, he could be put on another 2 stone. Getting punched in the eyeball won't be affected by how much he weighs, you know. And I know there was, I think, it was a stone lighter for that fight, and the appearance against another guy who was 19.5 stone. He looked small. Joe's never looking small, but it's all about moving your head, come into the fight fresh, healthy, with the ability to, for 12 rounds, move your head, move your feet, come into range, throw your combinations, get out of range. Zhang has shown consistently that he gets tired as the fight goes on. Joe, from his first fight, was a 12-rounder against Ian Lewison. Everyone thought I was crazy putting him in a 10-rounder for his first fight. But I'd seen him in the gym. I know he's got 12 rounds in him. Since his first fight, he could have fought a 12-rounder. So the engine is no problem. The heart is no problem. The chin is no problem. We just need to get the defense tightened up, and he should be able to get this victory.
Before we let you go, we just want to ask you about Conor Benn, who's going to be fighting this weekend in Florida. I mentioned a quote from Josh Taylor, the former super lightweight world champion. Josh said he sees a fight with Conor Benn down the line, but he shouldn't be fighting right now. He shouldn't be anywhere near a boxing ring. I think it's pretty bad for the sport. It's a bad look, is what Josh said. Of course, in this country, the British Boxing Board of Control and UKAD are appealing the decision that's allowing him to fight. What do you make of it?
I don't know the ins and outs of what it is. If he's free to fight in America, then it's his right to fight in America. You know, if there's a jurisdiction over here, I'm not sure. Last I heard, he was okay to fight. I know there's been an appeal against that, but if he's free to fight, he can fight. Yeah. And, you know, he's a young man. You know, he believes that he was been hard done by the system, or the machine was wrong that did the test. So, you know, you can only do what you can do. Should he postpone his own career to make other people happy, or should he just get in the ring? Because these big fights are coming up down the line. You're talking, you know, Josh Taylor, you're talking, you know, Chris Eubank Jr., big multi-million-pound fights round the corner. He's been out of the ring for a while. You know, fighters who've been convicted of a lot worse than what he had in his system and had 6 months ban. He's had way more than that already. You know, it's time to get back in the ring and start fighting. You know, there's massive fights around the corner for him. And, you know, hopefully the paperwork side of things or whatever, you know, I'm not sure what needs to happen. I don't know how someone proves anything. You know, the whole system's a bit up in the air. It needs a full overhaul. But if he's free to fight, then let the young man fight.
Just one real quickie. I mean, UKAD and British Boxing Board of Control have said they're going to appeal it, as I just said. He doesn't have currently hold a licence to box in this country. How would you feel? I mean, you fight under the auspices of the British Boxing Board of Control when you did. Would you have gone abroad to fight if you didn't have a licence in the UK?
Interesting you mentioned it. There was a situation where Derek Chisora and myself wanted to have a fight with each other, and the British Boxing Board of Control gave back Derek his license and said he wasn't, you know, they didn't want him fighting with the British Board of Control. So Frank Warren got the Luxembourg Boxing Federation, and we both signed up to that organisation. They came over to the UK, and at West Ham Stadium we had a fight in front of 45,000 people, and the fight went great, and you know, all worked out okay. So I've done something similar in the past. If the rules say you can't do one thing, you know, if you've got to manipulate the rules to give the fans the fights they want, then you got to do what you got to do.
David, good to talk to you. Thanks for joining us.
You too.
All the best. That's David Haye there, former two-weight world champion. Zhang, Joyce, live on TNT Sports 2, Discovery Plus from 7:30. And, of course, here on talkSPORT Part Fight Night from 7 p.m. on Saturday evening. Should be a fascinating fight. He's going to be a very different Joe Joyce. I think, as David was saying, most people in the no field, he's going to give a better account of himself and get the job done. And there's some big fights of him, Usyk and others potentially down the line.
He's 40, you're saying, though. I didn't realise he's getting on a bit.
Yeah, he certainly is.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.